I became a councillor in the 1970s, and the council at that time was very much in favour of the anti-apartheid movement. We wanted to...
A suggestion and then a resolution through a Labour Party branch called for Mandela to be given freedom of the city.
One day, a member of the Labour Party came to my office to say that one of the constituency Labour parties in Glasgow had passed a motion asking for us to make Nelson Mandela a freeman of the city. Our decision, which was ratified by the Council in 1981, not unanimously because the Conservatives voted against it, the decision was greeted by the press with outright condemnation. You know, we were honouring a terrorist, we were besmirching the name of Glasgow, etc., etc. He was considered to be a terrorist, and in fact, if I remember correctly, Amnesty International would not adopt him as a prisoner of conscience because of some of his actions. And of course, Margaret Thatcher was Prime Minister at the time, and she had no time for Nelson Mandela or for the boycott of South Africa. Although one other thing that we were condemned for was the decision to name a street in Glasgow after Nelson Mandela. We decided that we were going to name the square where the South African consul had his office, Nelson Mandela Place. And of course that annoyed the consul enormously. He would not use that as his postal address. He had to get a post box address, I think. And I think the Glasgow Evening Times condemned it as a bad move.
Then the media were still saying Glasgow City Council recognises terrorists and so forth. So it wasn't welcomed by the media at all at that time. Of course, now it's become a tourist attraction, Nelson Mandela Place.
I mean, it's become a kind of focus now for anything to do with Nelson Mandela.
Scottish people have I believe, an inherent understanding of national oppression. They feel different and they feel they're sat upon.
The Scots have always been, I think, the #1 friends of South Africa.
She actually invited President Botha on a state visit to the UK. She was thoroughly opposed to sanctions, possibly because her husband had 9 directorates in companies trading with South Africa. She used to say that sanctions would damage the very people that we were trying to help. And the answer that she got from those very people was impose sanctions, and she ignored it.
It is a special privilege to be a guest of this great city of Glasgow. It will always enjoy a distinguished place in the records of the international campaign against apartheid. The people of Glasgow in 1981 were the first in the world to confer on me the freedom of the city at a time when I and my comrades in the ANC were imprisoned on Robben Island, serving life sentences, which in apartheid South Africa meant imprisonment until death.